how to get ridiculously powerful PR for your care homes, to amaze prospective families, to help ultimately help get more enquiries. As I say, my name is James, I'm founder of Springup PR. We help aspirational care providers become famous and recognised, ultimately to get more inquiries and recruit dream care teams. Myself and my team have worked with dozens of care providers on their PR strategy. So let's get straight into it. What is a PR strategy? What's the PR aim? Well, usually, not always, usually, it's to get noticed regionally for your individual care services, your individual care homes, by prospective self-funding families. Often, it is, of course, also to get noticed because you want to become seen and noticed as an employer of choice to recruit new care workers. But on this talk today, we are going to be focusing on prospective self-funding families and your local communities and stakeholders and influencers, all those people who make referrals and give you nudges as your care home to be a great place to for their families to send their elderly relatives. So why a regional PR strategy? PR. What is PR? It can mean so many different things. But usually the words I hear is you want to increase the profile and reputation, word of mouth reputation. I know it's the be all and end all, is it not? Of care homes. But PR is there to amplify this word of mouth reputation. Reputation is great amongst everyone who already knows you. But PR and raising the profile is to raise that reputation amongst people who don't already know about you. Ultimately, as we say, to attract self-funding families, to increase occupancy faster. You want to be seen and noticed as a great provider of care. Now, I'm going to be going through four must-dos on your regional PR priorities. By the way, if you've got any questions as I go along, note them in your head and please, I'll answer them at the end. First one, ongoing regional press coverage, that's stories. Journalists love good care provider stories. Your regional journalists do. Why? Because you have great human interest stories. You have great examples of looking after our nation's elderly. There's a great public interest here. There's dementia and healthcare. There's a massive public interest. I've just added the BBC and ITV regional news because those journalists particularly like to hear about your great care home stories. And I'll come on to that a bit later, as I say. Any questions? Remember and ask me later on. So just give you some scattering examples of what we mean by press coverage. You've seen all of this. And these, of course, are journalists writing good news about your care homes. Anyone can place an advert. We know that. That third-party endorsement from journalists is what we're talking about here. And there's a range of examples. So every care home, I repeat, every care home, every 2 months, can and should be securing regional press coverage. There are a huge amount of stories, there's a little probing and digging that will get those journalists to write about you. And don't worry about it. Oh, maybe you do worry, and it's something I've heard, I don't have good enough stories. Well, the good news is you don't need dedicated activities or events. You will already have great examples of personalised care. You're going to have dedicated care workers. You're going to have a manager who's been there for 15 years and loves working in care. What a great story. You'll have examples of pet therapy, reminiscence in your day-to-day work as providing great care. And journalists love to hear about these stories, particularly regional journalists who, of course, you are wanting to reach out to, because that's where you're within your catchment area. That's the press that we are talking about. While I'm on this, I my background is actually a journalist. I'm a former journalist, and myself and my team, we love pitching to the press. And the same principles apply, by the way, whether you're pitching to the national press or your local newspaper. But I want to just give you a few examples and secrets, if you like, of how to do it for your carer. First thing is write a story on a plate for the journalists. You want them to copy and paste it. Literally, that's what we do. Within reason. In that way, you're going to have complete control of that message, of that story that you are pitching to your local journalists. I want to give you an example. This is how we do it. 300 words, there we go, that's a story on a plate for journalists. You'll see, this is something you'll be all be familiar with. It's a CQC report, by the way. Make sure every good CQC report gets positive press coverage, get a lovely photo of your team doing wonderful work that they do. But there you go, there's some essentials here. 300 words, it's written on a plate. It's got a great headline, going the extra mile. That's what the care home manager said. And that's valid, you can include that. And add quotes from your manager, from families and your staff. Bring it to life with those quotes. Another example, again, 300 words. This happened to be during the COVID pandemic when the particular home was bringing back visitors. Again, a lovely warm headline and quotes from managers, probably managers, families. 9 times out of 10, 9.5 times out of 10 families and residents love to be involved in media initiatives. Now, my other little secret is in that email subject line. Don't forget you're probably pitching to your journalists initially via email. Give that headline in your email subject line so it immediately jumps out when the journalists receive it. And then this is something I hold close to my heart. I think I was speaking to follow up to the desk. You know, the amount of times you send an email, pitch to a journalist, you don't hear back. 99% of the time you don't hear back. So follow up. Get a yes, no, or maybe. You can be polite and funny and humorous and quirky with your follow-ups. But it's really, really worthwhile because then you're going to get information from them. Yes, they're going to use it, or no, you're going to hear a why not, or a maybe. You can start to cultivate relationships with your local journalists. And once you have that relationship, you can get back to them. You've got their mobile phone number, and you can start to cultivate that positive relationship. It works particularly well with the regional BBC and ITV television. And here, I just want to give you my little secret tip here. That's not so secret now, I'm just telling you. But this is what you need to do to get in contact with your local television. You want to contact the planning department or the news editor. And there you see, I've given them an example. You can find them on Twitter. Editor of the BBC Northwest. You can decipher Michelle's email address, but you've given a contact name. But these are the people who plan the week out, plan the month out for their television journalists. And if you go to them with a particular event or a particular activity or a particular story, and these are the people who plan out the week. So you can get their details, as I said, by phoning and asking who the editor is of the planning department. And again, if you cultivate a relationship with that journalist, it will bear fruit for many months afterwards. Another little secret, if you want to make sure, we know that families, 94% of families search online when looking for a care. So, and I know I do now, I'll always check out Google News. And Google News is obviously for when media write about care homes. So here's a particular tip. Submit your stories to bdaily.co.uk. Okay, you will get Google News rankings on that platform. Some care providers already do it, and it's a way to get some online Google News coverage. Always include eye-catching photos when you are submitting and pitching to the press. Here's some of those great photos. You can see the difference it makes. Lovely photos are, when it comes to print, it means you're going to get a whole page versus a quarter page. When it's online, you get more coverage, literally more space. And of course, those photos are yours. You can use them the whole time for all your other marketing collateral. And as I say, 9.5 times out of 10, the staff and residents and their families will enjoy this particular activity. And then we move, remember I said 4 things. Here's number 2, digital PR, Facebook on file. We talked about that press coverage. Let's be clear here, eyeballs. If journalists are writing about you, maybe if it's in print, you're going to get 10,000 distribution. Television and radio can be 50, 100,000. Then you have to think digital. And now we have a system right now where we always boost these good news stories. But, you have to be strategic. You can see what's happening here. There's a lot of use of emoticons. That great news story that I showed you before, we've tweaked it to work on Facebook, which is friends sharing with friends. It's slightly different. So there's a lot of use of emoticons. It's a very, very powerful first line. You want people to read it, engage, and like, and comment, and share. You want them to celebrate your care homes with you. So if you see here, look at some of the numbers. We've got 634 likes, 98 comments, 10 shares. That's one post. This happened within 2-3 days. This comes with a boost, 150 quid. But in that way, you can get more than 20,000 people, age 45 plus, that's who you want to be reaching, right, within your home's target catchment area. Just a sample, that's just a sample. There were 98 comments on this particular story, which got the press coverage as well, about people enjoying, celebrating your home. That's 98 positive testimonials about your home. Another example. Care home taking a resident to see Ipswich Town, who he happened to support all his life, and again 559 likes, 70 comments, 20 shares. Those people liking so much the story, they're sharing it with everyone else, and that will enable you to hit those big numbers. Another example, when you get it right, it doesn't always work like this, but when it does, it can fly. Again, celebrating care homes, dementia initiatives. You probably do all this already, there's nothing special here, but they got everything right. Very strategic how they thought about it. And this particular post, 150 quid boost, it genuinely went viral. 13.8 million people. Yes, 13.8 million. And look at those numbers of shares, this is quite ridiculous. 236,000 shares. I think this is probably the most viral Facebook post in the history of the care sector. That's a challenge I put to you. Now, hands up who's continually learning. Who learns every day? Yeah, we learn every day. So what we're now going to be doing is Facebook ads is a way to get prospective families interested in you as a carer. Another way to do it, which we're going to be looking at, is using those great stories, is to have a very definite call to action, because we want now, and we're going to be trying this, at the end of that great story that you saw, we want the call to action to be to people to shout out if they think or know of anyone who may be needing a care home as lovely as the one they've just read about. 20 to 30,000 people. This is the call to action at the bottom of that Facebook post that we're going to be trying out. We'll let you know how we get on, but we're looking forward to getting moving on that. So these wonderful PR stories that we've been talking about, you want to make sure that you get a six-fold whammy from this. You're going to be getting the press coverage. You're going to be getting the digital PR hit, that bigger than 20,000. Obviously it's story for your carehome.co.uk. Obviously it's story for your website. Maybe you do, I think there's something you should be doing. You'll be sending e-shots to your commissioners, your stakeholders, your prospective families. You'll make sure that story and that press coverage, of course, is on their e-shots. And that's little SEO secret bdaily.co.uk. Number 3 I mentioned, big events. So how can you attract 100 plus people to your home and get VIPs and influencers and your community to attend? I'm not talking about present families. I'm talking about people who have not already visited your homes. That's what you want, right? That's what we're after here. Remember, we are amplifying the word of mouth reputation. CEO of the care provider we've been helping out was mightily impressed when a whole bunch of WI members came to this particular event, something very, very similar, which was Charles Hanson. Some of you may know his name, but he does antique valuations at care homes. He's so good, and he attracts big numbers. Because what I'm saying here is you need to have an additional attraction to bring people into your care home and to make your care home famous for the day. So here he is. If you come to me, I'll happily give you his details, but it's great to do this kind of thing in the summer. But he is Charles Hanson from Flogis and Antiques Roadshow. He will do antique valuations at your home. It pulls in the crowds, and it makes your home famous. And what they're thinking about here is not necessarily it's a care-related event. It's something bigger than that that will bring those people who will not already visited your homes in. It's the right demographic as well. It's superb value. Book them in and come to me if you'd like a contact for them. And just a little bit of logistics, we've done a number of these. Here you can see an invite, but literally how do you do it? You get a database of your VIP guests. You get some of the logistics sorted out. Some are key. If you're doing it during the summer, you want to have personalised invitations. This isn't going out to anyone. It's very personalised invitations. And you're sending them guest packs. And then you have to follow them up. You have to follow up. We're talking about the follow-up. You have to follow up guests. These are personalised invites for them. So that was number 3. And there's an example of a particular flyer for which we helped one particular care provider. So number 4. I love these. They're so simple. They're e-shots. And that e-shot's not saying, oh yeah, dear so-and-so, we have so many vacancies at our care. None of that. This is celebrating your great news, showcasing those great stories that your care homes have, and you will be sending those on 1 month, 2 months, but do regularly to your commissioners, your district nurses, GPs. How many get referrals from GPs? How many get referrals from district nurses? Thank them once in a while, and also keep them in touch with what you are doing. Again, not pitching or selling anything to them, you're just saying, by the way, here's all the wonderful things we do. And I tell you, 9.5 is the favourite number of that. 9.5 times out of 10, these people love to know what's going on in their local care homes. They love it. So that's going out to your teachers, your financial advisors. Why? Because they are more likely to have contact prospective self-funding families, journalists, councillors, MPs. You can build up your own list. You get and build that email list. Get and build it. You're building it. So it's ever-growing email list. I just want to give you some examples. You can see here, it's always personalised. Dear Adam, that's me. Dear Trish, and it comes from the manager. And just snippets, and you have little click-throughs, so people can click through to your Facebook page. Very, very simple. It's very nice. And I said we have very good open rates, very good click-through rates on those. Why? Because your local influencers love to know what's going on at your care home, which they are local to. So there we go. Those are the 4 must-dos. Please, any questions? Put them in here. I'll answer them in a moment. But we have to focus on press, on digital events and e-shots, because if you want to be noticed and you want to be recognized and you want to become famous above and beyond your present networks to ultimately help get more inquiries and attract staff, these are the things you should be doing. So that's all very well for me to say. Here's care providers on what they have to say, and thank you very, very much. I get some applause as well. So, by the way, if you are wondering whether these strategies could work for you, please apply for a 30-minute free PR strategy course. You do have to apply, we just don't let anyone. I send some qualifying questions. Just text PR to that number. Do it now. Do it right now. Please, Jen. See you. And I'll happily be in touch. It's gone. Get it back. Just the previous one. That one, the next one. That one. Thank you, everyone. Now, any questions? I've got one over here. Happy to answer any questions you have.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
With care homes, when they are considering their... Can you hear me? Can you hear me? When they're considering their marketing activity and budget, how would you advise them to split their PR against potential advertising that they have to do online to attract new movements?
PR versus advertising. Great question. You know what? My answer to this is quite simple. It depends upon what you're wanting to achieve. It depends upon what you're wanting to achieve. So, if, as I see it, you have sales and marketing. Tell me what you think, Carly. A sales and marketing funnel like this. Right? It's like this. At the top, you have this word of mouth reputation and profile. That's the very top. After that, you have families who are ready to think about a care home. They're ready right now. And that's where you need to probably be thinking about making sure that you are visible when people are searching online. When you've got that word of mouth reputation, that's key. When they're searching online, Google pay-per-click comes into play. Organic SEO comes into play. Your ranking on carehomes.co.uk comes into play. And other digital factors. So, and then Facebook ads also comes into play if you want to be reaching out to families who may be possibly thinking about the possibility of a care, not really decided yet. So to answer your question, it depends on what your priority is. Sometimes the care providers come to me and say, our priority is we want to get more inquiries right now. In which case we may be looking at some of those digital platforms. Whereas others, it's more, we want to raise our profile and reputation because we want to increase that word of mouth reputation. In which case the priority in that case may be more towards that PR.
Thank you.
Does that answer that question? Great question. If anyone's got any more questions related to that. Carl, far away.
Hi, Adam. I do actually have a question, but no, I would agree with Ellie that you need a multi-strategy mix within your marketing campaign. You need to be able to touch people who are planning in the future, and also people who needed care yesterday. So PR is a big part of that, but you need to have that full mix there. But my question is, and I'm just looking for some more advice and freebies here, to be honest with you.
Sure.
The B Daily, I never heard of it. That's great. Thank you very much. And I was talking to you earlier. We used the In Your Area submission. But are there any other platforms that we can utilise to sort of submit PR online that gets you the same sort of results that B Daily does?
B Daily is obviously In Your Area, which we were talking about before. It's a kind of a border between an online directory and editorial outlet. That's a nice echo effect. Jesus, Mary Jane. I'll move over here. That will make a difference. Obviously, the media outlets themselves, they will have a strong high domain authority. The BBC in particular the BBC. So again, and that doesn't. If you can get an online coverage from the BBC, that starts to bring you straight up there. The B Daily is really good because the beauty about B Daily is you can put the name of your care home in the headline, and of course, the Google spiders catch the headline before the copy. So that's I'm going to have an additional thought about that one, because there are more and more of these little platforms creeping up. Great question, yeah. I hope that was helpful.
As a small provider, obviously we don't have a huge budget, so those sort of things are great to hear. And then just one last question, if I may. So I've always had the idea of wanting to do media events to invite journalists to having afternoon tea or coffee morning just for journalists. Is that worth doing, or do journalists not have time for these sort of nonsense?
Increasingly, great question. Increasingly less and less time, but if you give them a special invite, a special look around, and maybe do it at the time of the story. Especially, because to be fair, isn't for any particular single home, we're probably talking about 4 or 5 max journalists. If you can maybe, I think if I was doing it, because the journalists are ultimately looking for a story, I would combine it with that. But even it's just come and have lunch. Have nice. I imagine you always have lovely lunches and useful foods. Great chefs at care homes. They are. I love chef stories because we know how important it is to eat well for elderly people, particularly those with dementia. And stories about cooks and how they provide great food and how they take care of the dietary requirements of the elderly and people who might have difficulty swallowing, etc. I love those stories. Great question. Anyone else with any particular questions? I'm very happy to answer them. But if not, I'm here. That's what I've given you my mobile phone number. So. But thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.